Ever had a crush on a character? No, really, have you ever had a crush on a character that isn't even real? And if so, are they non-human? That's me. I'm Mellon. I'm 13 years old, and I'm basically just like you. I have a family, I have a house, you name it. My family doesn't really get along that well. My father, aside from being away at work most of the time, is all worked up over the fact that I'm romantic, and literally lashes out at me nearly every time I mention that. My mom's too busy watching her K-dramas and listening to K-pop. Have to say K-pop sounds pretty good, but still. My two brothers, both attending elementary school, are basically what you get when you combine noisy parrots with hyperactive monkeys. Knowing that I have misophonia, a type of hearing sensory issue having to do with certain sounds, they really know how to put me through what feels like the 5 stages of grief. Don't get me started on the public schools I used to attend until the middle of the 6th grade. The kids there who knew my weakness made it feel like a series of hellholes, to the point I now have to attend virtual school just to escape all the torment. I also have 4 cats that I really wish I could speak to, mostly Gracie, who is very nice, sweet, and friendly, and we'd probably get along better than the rest of my family and possibly be a couple if it wasn't for that language barrier. Because of all these hardships, I decided to isolate myself by putting on earbuds connected to my laptop which plays white noise and music, and I hang out with friends who are thousands of miles away and the only way we can interact is through the internet. I really like their humor and all, but there is one thing I am missing: real friends. Friends that are actually there with me. Friends that can really see my emotions and be there for me. Remember when I was talking about non-human crushes? I have so many that it'll be hard to name them all in one go. I mentioned that I'm zoo-romantic, not to be confused with zoophilia. What is it about the fact that animals and other non-human beings appear more attractive than humans? I grew up watching cartoons where the main characters are animals, and I mostly preferred those ones, so that might be the reason. When I'm not talking to my friends, I tend to watch clips and episodes of my crushes to put me in a lovey-dovey mood when I feel like it. Okay, enough with all that. Now on to the main story. Summer break had just started, and I woke up at 5 a.m. How unusually early, as I usually wake up at around 8 to 10 o'clock, since that is the time my brothers leave for school so I can finally have peace and quiet. I tried as hard as I could to go back to sleep, but I just wasn't tired anymore. Probably because I fell asleep early the day before since my mom gave me that oil that makes us wind down. I decided to wake up and do something while my parents and brothers were asleep. The cats were the only ones aside from me who were awake, as usual. I decided to play with them, when all of the sudden, I heard these weird chimes. No, not like the chimes I hear from the wind chimes that the neighbors have next door. These chimes sound like magic chimes, as if a fairy was spreading pixie dust everywhere. I've been a huge fan of fantasy stories for a while, I just had to follow it. The sound was coming from upstairs. As I got closer and closer, I found out where it was coming from. It was from that door. That one door. The door that was always locked, open or the first time. For some reason we were never allowed to enter the room, or so I thought. When I looked inside, it was just a big mess, old toys and everything, and it was basically like our attic, except it was not above the 2nd floor. I was a little excited that I finally got to step into the forbidden room that was hidden away from us for so long. I turned on the light, and I saw this locket on an old night desk. The locket was shining different colors, and it looked like a prism of some sort, and it was also the source of the chiming. Could it be a magical girl transformation item? I've also been wanting to be a magical girl for years, so I put on the locket. Right when I put it on, the locket opened up and a bright light shined. A voice, like a cute, high-pitched female voice, started speaking. "Greetings, dear user of this locket," said the fairy. "What the?" I said. "Who are you?" "I am Pippi the Dimension Fairy. I control and have access to every universe in the world. And I can also hack the Matrix. Hack the what? I am so powerful that I can do anything. How did you even get here? I traveled here from another universe, following your heart, knowing that you would need me. Okay, what exactly do I need you for? You've always had the dream to be with your crushes, am I right? Yeah, but, unfortunately, they aren't real, right? You may believe they aren't real, but you have been wronged. The truth is they are, they're just not from the same universe as you. No way, this can't be true. I pinched myself to ensure that I wasn't having a weird dream. After all, it was 5 a.m., it had to be a dream. It wasn't, not only because of the pain, but because in my actual dreams, I don't remember to pinch myself for some reason. It is true. You just gotta believe it. Would you like me to grant the very wish you've longed for years? I hesitated. If this was my one and only chance to actually be with the characters I've simped for so much, I just had to do it. I took a deep breath and said yes. Okay. I will take you to several universes where you will get to meet the most relevant crushes and you get to choose who you will be with and live happily ever after. Sounds good? Yes, please. To the first universe we go. All of a sudden, I started ascending into the air. The room started to look like it was warping and changing hues, and everything turned brighter and brighter. Everything became a colorful void. I noticed my body started changing. My body started to shrink and my head and eyes started to grow. I started growing yellow fur. My clothes disappeared and were replaced with red gloves, boots, and a scarf. Then everything went black. Ow ow ow, my heart is beating so rapidly. Panting, "Who are you, bunny rabbit creature?" said a familiar, husky voice. My eyes opened and in front of me were two big, hot pink eyes that looked like two shiny rubies. It was Zim, the titular Urkin invader from Invader Zim, whom I started crushing on around the time I started 6th grade. I looked at my surroundings. I was in his lab. Zim? Yes, it is I, Zim. You already know my name. He said. The locket fairy was correct. I whispered under my breath. I've got no time for bunny rabbits. I must continue my plan to achieve world domination. I blushed at the sound of his voice. Wait a minute. Bunny rabbit? I looked at myself and realized something. My body has now taken the form of Martha, that self-insert I made. She's actually a rabbit-like alien called a Usarian. Must explain why his heart was beating at the sight of me, since Martha does that to anyone who sees her for the first time. I'm actually glad my body changed because I don't really like how I look in real life. Now all I gotta do is play in character, right? I'm from planet USA. I'm an Usarian. Usarian? Never heard of that alien before. How did I end up in your lab? I asked, even though I knew how I got here. I just wanted to know how I got here in this universe. Your spaceship crashed in front of my house, of course. Oh wait. Right. I gotta fight that moron. Who? Dib? I said. Kali. My archenemy. Kali? Yes, that little kitten rat always foils all my plans. I must defeat her. He says as he pulled up a picture of a very familiar calico kitten-like alien. Hold up a second. I said. I turned around and whispered to the fairy. Miss Locket Fairy, how come you sent me into a fan-made show that I created? You see, even the normalist of norms have the power to create universes themselves just with a little imagination, they just don't know it. Whoa. I didn't know that. But how is Zim acting like he met me for the first time if Martha has already met Zim in my show? I sent you to the time frame where they first meet. Oh. Right. A little backstory is that I create fan-made shows using characters I like and OCs, original characters, I make and put them together. It appears that I went into the universe of Kali rather than the canon Invaders Im universe. I better act in character. I would love to help you defeat Kali. I said. You do? How so? Said Zim. I got doki doki bombs. They send people into a heartbeat fit. I can also grow and shrink people with my ears. Perfect, said Zim, let's do this. We went to Kali's house and battled her. It was pretty epic. Kali zoomed through the air like a dragonfly as Zim shot laser beams at her, and I helped by throwing Dokidaki bombs, which Kali dodged one by one. It was as if I was actually living the show, a show that I created myself, and to be honest, I pretty much was. Like always, Kali wins, and she punches Zim and Martha, or me, into the horizon. I was pretty glad I got to shout the defeat catchphrase "so long moron." Together with Zim like Martha always would. Me and Zim landed at his house. The landing didn't really hurt because of cartoon logic, I guess. I went up to Zim and said, "Are you okay, Zim-sama?" Since Martha always calls him that. "It's okay," he said. For some reason, he was smiling. In the show I created, Zim is often angry at his defeat. "Zim-sama, I know we lost, but you were pretty strong," he admitted. "I was strong?" I gasped, but quickly went into character and said yeah, no one beats the unstoppable Martha. All of a sudden, he gave me a big hug. "You shall be my partner," said Zim. "Partner in crime?" I said with a slight smirk. Zim started giggling. The sound of his infectious giggling made me blush so much, and I joined in. "You shall be my future bride," he said with a big grin. I gasped in shock. Then, he pulled me in for a kiss. I couldn't believe it. A fictional, or not, crush of mine is about to kiss me. I decided to kiss him too, but all of a sudden, everything disappeared when our lips were about to touch. I was back in the colorful void. I noticed my fur going cream, and my clothing was replaced with vermilion-colored bows. "Hello Zona. You must be from Maryland too," said another familiar voice. My eyes opened again. I was with Baku, Kirimi's sidekick. Kirimi is a Sanrio character who is the rival of my Melody, and Baku was her henchman, and I've had eyes for him since I was 9 years old. "Hello," I said. I checked my body again. This time, I was Claire, who is yet another self-insert I made. "Baku, come on. We have to get going," a familiar, high-pitched voice shouted. That must have been Kirimi. "Coming Zona," Baku said as he ran up to her. "Wait," I shouted, "I'm coming too." "Zona? I'm gonna be Kirimi's sidekick too." "Really Zona? I must tell Kirimi-sama if she will approve Zona," he said as he ran to her. After a short while, he came back with Kirimi. "I approve of you as my new sidekick. Will you promise to behave?" she asked. "Yes. I will be the best sidekick ever," I shouted excitedly. "Okay. We shall go to get some food because I'm starving," Kirimi said. Knowing I had the ability to use my ears as a propeller, since Claire had the ability to do so, I flew with them to a food stand. I thought we'd be fighting my mellow or something, I thought. A delicious smell approached. Takoyaki was sizzling, and the aroma of Odin filled the air. Kirimi bought the food and we ate at a corner. "How did you get here Zona?" Baku asked me. I said, playing in character. I wanted to see what the human world was like, so I came here. The human world is awesome, the food is nice and there are lots of pretty women Zona. Speaking of pretty women, I want to admit something, I stammered. "What Zona?" Baku asked. "I got a crush on you," I sang, which is a line from a K-pop song my mom listens to. "Really Zona?" "Yeah, you're just so handsome. I clearly don't know why other people think you aren't attractive." "You really mean it Zona?" "Baku. What are you doing?" Kirimi shouted. Baku danced around and exclaimed, "There's no time to waste Zona, now is the time we share our first kiss." "Kiss?" I gasped. Baku pulled me closer and closer as his lips formed a kiss shape. Before our lips touched, I was back in the void again. I thought to myself, is this going to happen every time I'm about to kiss someone? I went through that weird metamorphosis again. This time, my fur turned a bright green. My ears and tail changed to that of a cat's. The strangest part is that I felt my head feeling all wonky, as if it was a cup and someone was pouring juice inside it. As everything went black, I heard yet another familiar voice. "What kind of Pokemon is that?" I opened my eyes and saw the very Pokemon I loved the most, Meowth, the only Pokemon, aside from me, who could talk. Hi, I stammered. You can talk too? Yeah. I gotta tell Jesse and James about this. And he ran off. Wait for me, I shouted. After a while of running, I followed him to the Team Rocket hideout. I walked inside and eavesdropped. Another talking Pokemon, you say? Jesse and James both said in shock. Wabba Wabba? Wobbuffet said, presumably reacting the same way. Yes. And her head looks like a big honeydew berry. Oh right. I said. I was now my fake man, Mellon, and yet another self-insert. She's basically a cat-melon hybrid. That locket fairy was really being a genius here. Hi. I mumbled as I walked in. She's here. Meowth exclaimed. I stammered, would you like some melon juice? And she's never been discovered before either, Jesse exclaimed. How often will we be getting new species? Every couple of years I guess, I remarked. Meowth came up close and sniffed me. You even smell like honeydew. Did you gorge out on honeydew berries by any chance? My head is full of melon juice, I said. If you want, I can serve you the best melon juice in the world. I ran into the kitchen, grabbed some cups, and spit melon juice into each one. I set them on the table, and soon Team Rocket came in, whiffing the smell. They all took a sip and were surprised at how good it tasted. Seconds please. They shouted in unison. I served more as they asked for more, and soon, they were full. This is the best melon juice ever, Meowth said. Is this your main ability? Yeah, I said. Knowing how my self-insert is like, as I created her, I knew the words that were going to come out of Meowth's mouth next. If that is so, I am sorry, but you can't join Team Rocket. That power seems pretty weak. I know. Look on the bright side, darling, you make the best juice. How about you be our juice dispenser? Juice dispenser, I said as I blushed. You're turning into a tomato head, what's wrong? Said Meowth. You're just so cute, I sheepishly replied. Cute? I'm not cute. I'm a fierce Pokemon you shouldn't mess with. I'm part of Team Rocket. I meant in a handsome way. Handsome, why didn't you say that earlier? Shall we kiss? Here it comes again, I thought. As Meowth was a millisecond away from touching my lips, I went into that colorful void again. My body was turning into that of a rabbit's once again, only this time, pink. A flower appeared on my right ear while a red bow wrapped around my neck. Everything went black as yet another familiar voice entered my ears. Hey, who are you, Spooty Bunny Rabbit? I opened up my eyes and saw Daget, one of the two titular beaver twins from the Angry Beavers. He was looking at me with a confused face. Daget-kun, I exclaimed. Hi. You already know my name? Spooty Spoot. He murmured. Daget. Let's play. A young, innocent voice shouted. I looked and saw that the voice was coming from a familiar little mole. Beside him was an equally familiar pigeon and raccoon. They were Mokamaru, Pikato, and Kanako, the first two being my OCs, while the last one was created by a friend of mine. It appears that I am in the show of Mokamaru, another universe I created according to that locket fairy. Coming. Daget said, and he ran to them. I followed. Is this your new friend? Pikato asked. We just met, you spooty pigeon. Daget shouted in annoyance. He. I giggled and blushed. Hey, what's your name? Mokamaru asked. I believe this must be the time frame where me and the other guys first meet. Pyongyang. My mom is a rabbit and my dad is a cat, so yeah. A hybrid? Kanako said, amused. Wanna come to my house? Mokamaru asked. Sure, I said shyly, trying to be in character. At Mokamaru's tunnel, we sat down in a circle. What shall we play today? Mokamaru asked. Truth or dare? Kanako requested. Okay. Truth or dare it is. It was pretty fun with all the secrets being revealed and the dares we had to do. At last, it came. Daget was the commander and he asked me, who's your biggest crush? I had no choice to say the name of any other character since it would be out of character to mention a character outside of the Mokomoru universe, so I admitted it in his face. You. Me? Daget said in shock. Yes. I walked up to him and started rubbing myself against his chest. It was very soft and fluffy like a baby kitten, as he was a beaver after all. She knows my weakness, Daget said as he started doing the cute little panting, chattering thing he does. You sound so cute and handsome when you do that, I said, blushing at the sound of his panting. Daget fell to the ground on his back as I snuggled with him. So fluffy, I exclaimed. Eh. Daget panted. Daget has a girlfriend. Pikato laughed. Spooty pigeon. Daget shouted, then immediately went back to panting. My floofy bunny wobbit looks like she needs a kiss, Daget said in an affectionate tone of voice, as he pulled in to kiss me. The colorful void then appeared again. This time, I transformed into an otter with pinkish-brown fur, and then everything went black. Olivia. Let's go on a date, said a voice, identical to that of Weird Al Yankovic. Hi, Olivia. Another voice said. As my eyes opened, in front of me was a wheeled raccoon and ferret, both with big smiles on their faces. The raccoon with wheels was Litter Critter from Blaze and the Monster Machines, while the ferret was Furdo from Buddy, Tech Detective. The fact that these two were together must mean I was in the universe of Animal Charm Point, another show I made. Ray-kun. Furdo-kun. Hi. I said. Ray was the real name I gave to Litter Critter, since in my universe, Litter Critter is just a nickname. Let's play, Olivia, said Furdo. Sure, hold on, I need to be alone for a moment, I said. I asked the Locket Fairy, how many universes are you going to take me to? I gotta get home. This is the second to last universe. Just one more universe and you can go home, she said. I went back to where I was before and said hey, I'm ready. But they left. All of a sudden, I had an idea. I was feeling hungry, and I had the perfect meal in mind. I went into my house, or Olivia's house, and went in the kitchen to make something I was sure Olivia's friends would enjoy, rice balls, but with my own twist. I filled some with standard tuna, some with pepperoni, some with eggs, and some with Spam. When they were finished, they looked like a bunch of happy clouds. They had the shape of flowers and hearts thanks to special shaping molds I used. I put the rice balls in a picnic basket and went out to look for my friends. Furdo, Litter Critter, and Keisha, the latter is another OC I made, were at an open space in the forest. I sat down next to them and opened the basket. Litter Critter said, mouth-watering, these look so good. We all took a bite and hummed at the unique taste. These are the best, Olivia, Furdo exclaimed. You even put pepperoni. I love pepperoni pizzas, so this is very thoughtful, Litter Critter said very excitedly. All of a sudden, both Furdo and Litter Critter leaned in to kiss me. How odd, since I thought Furdo was oblivious to love. Before I knew it, I was in the colorful void once again. Okay, last universe. I wonder what it will be, I thought. My body transformed into a cat's body with green fur. It appeared that I was a calico cat, but with patches in shades of green instead of the usual orange and black. I opened my eyes to the living room of a house, but not just any house, a house that looked eerily similar to mine. The only difference is that it was larger and much more spacious, like a mansion, though maybe it could be because I was the size of an actual cat. It appears that I am already home, just in a different form. I wonder why though. All of a sudden, a meowing voice peeped, "Happy birthday, Mellon." I looked around and saw a familiar black and white kitten, Gracie. You talk? I gasped in shock. I thought I always did, Gracie said. Her voice sounded like a girl who was the same age as me. I heard another voice, which sounded like a young boy. Hooray! It's your birthday. A kitten who was all black came sprinting in and pounced on me. It was my other cat, Boba. Hi, Boba, I sheepishly said. Can you get off of her? She needs to breathe. A voice sounding like a man in his early 20s said. I saw my ginger cat, Judah, coming in. "Ne-chan," I said, which is Japanese for older brother, as I called Judah that a lot because of his age in cat years. Two adult female and male voices playfully said, "My birthday girl. My oldest cat, Grim Puff, and that stray black tomcat from our neighborhood came walking to me and they both nuzzled their faces against mine. How odd, why is that stray cat in our house? It can't be my birthday, summer break just started. Isn't my birthday in October?" I said, confused. "Are you silly? It's October 9th. Look at the calendar," Gracie said as she pulled out a phone with her paw, the date showing the 9th of October. "Wait a minute," I said, as I sprinted upstairs to find my parents and my brother. They probably were still asleep. However, when I entered each room, they were nowhere to be found, and in their bedrooms, their beds were gone. In place of human beds were cat beds. I went back downstairs and asked, "Where's Mom, Dad, and my brothers? Did you forget the fact that your family is right here?" Grim Puff asked. "What?" I said. "So this must mean that the stray tomcat must be my dad, Grim Puff must be my mom, Judah and Boba are my brothers, and Gracie is my sister?" That was when I realized that I wasn't home yet after all. For breakfast, Grim Puff said, "We're having your favorite, salmon pate on bagels." My family and I ate the salmon pate bagels. Have to admit, they were pretty good. Back at my home universe, I lick the remaining pate off the knife I used to mush the pate for my cats to eat, and I like the taste for some reason. When we were done with breakfast, the doorbell rang. "Oh, and did you know that Mom invited all your boyfriends?" Gracie said. "Boyfriends?" I exclaimed. I don't remember having any boyfriends to begin with. The closest thing would be those boys I crushed on at elementary school before I resorted to cartoon characters. From kindergarten to the 3rd grade, I had a boyfriend who broke up with me by the next year because they didn't like me anymore for some reason. As I approached the front door, I noticed that even that was different, as it now had a cat door on it, like the ones you attach to walls or other doors and they flap open and close. I was expecting to see all those schoolboys at the door but as cats, but I was in for a surprise. When the door opened, I saw Zim, but for some reason, he was, realistic. He was a green humanoid with the head of a bug, which looked like a cross between a grasshopper and a moth. "Happy birthday, beautiful!" he exclaimed, and picked me up and gave me a hug. When he brought me down, a purple tapir, who was Baku, walked in. "Happy birthday Zona." A cat with a coin on his forehead, Meowth, came and said happy birthday, "Can't believe you're 14. I'm already 14 in this universe? Just wow." Then came Daget, Furdo, and Litter Critter, as a realistic beaver, ferret, and raccoon respectively. I'm surprised to see how the wheels instead of feet logic worked in a realistic-looking universe. I thought the boyfriends were gonna stop at the ones I have met in previous universes, but no. A South American giant otter came in and gave me a big hug. "Happy birthday, sweetie pie." The deep, mellow voice meant this had to be Ed from Brandy and Mr. Whiskers. How strange, since I thought he was already with Lola Boa. Maybe not in this universe, lucky me. A squirrel came in and chuckled. "Happy birthday, my love, hee 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 hee." That sheepish-sounding voice meant it was definitely Doug, or Buddy, from Best Head. A snail with hands slithered in. "Good morning, and happy birthday." He was definitely a Scargoon from Kirby. A red cat with a bucktooth came and said happy birthday Nyaroma. He outright stated that he was Nyaroma from Moritsuotaro. A rabbit and raccoon came in and gave me a big honeydew melon and mushroom. "Happy birthday, sweetie. I brought you the biggest, juiciest melon from my garden," said the rabbit, while the raccoon said, "And I brought you the biggest, juiciest mushroom from mine." In a thick, southern accent. These two had to be Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh and Randolph from 64 Zoo Lane respectively. As time passed, more and more realistic versions of familiar faces greeted me and wished me a happy birthday. I realized that these boyfriends Gracie was talking about were every single fictional crush I've had in my life, some of them being female due to me being biromantic. After what seemed like hours, the long line of boyfriends finally came to an end. The house was full, even fuller than the full house. I was surprised no one was fighting each other since I was basically cheating on them all, and I was even more surprised that no one was eating each other because, well, that's what animals of different levels of the food chain do in my universe. Gracie stood on the black cabinet that was below the TV and shouted at the top of her lungs. "Now that everyone's here, the birthday games shall now begin." "You even plan games?" I asked. "Of course. What would a birthday be without games?" Gracie giggled. "The first game is kiss the girl." She continued. "The first boyfriend to kiss the girl wins." The big army of boyfriends cheered like a bunch of crazy hooligans, and they all jumped at me to kiss me. The void appeared again when they were about to completely cover me with their bodies like a bunch of football players who just won a big game. Before I knew it, I was back in the messy storage room, as a human again. It was now around 8 in the morning. "Finally, I'm back home." I sighed. "It is time that you have made your choice." The locket fairy said. "Choice? Which boyfriend are you going to stay with, remember? Or do you prefer to stay in your world and live the rest of your life the same way it has always been? You better make your choice quickly." Memories of the universe I have visited flashed in my mind. All of them were fun, but for some reason, I didn't want to leave home forever, so I made my choice. To be honest, I want to stay home. It was fun meeting my fictional crushes in person, but I think it is best to stay home with my family, where I belong. Okay, I understand your inner turmoil. I am so glad you understood the true meaning of life. Go on and enjoy it. Okay, I guess this means goodbye, right? Yes, as I have work to do. Okay, bye, I said, slightly saddened, as I was about to take off the locket. "But," the fairy said, stopping me for a moment, "you get to keep the locket." "What? You really mean it?" "Yes, I am." I hesitated for a moment, then said thanks, Miss Fairy. "But isn't this your body?" "No need to worry about that, I'm a spirit with no body, so that I can travel through the multiverse without being seen, and this locket is something I made to teach you a lesson in life. Also, my name is Pippi. If I keep this, does this mean I can travel to any universe I want?" I said, excited. "Yes, but make sure to be humble about it, not a bragging little brat." "I won't, I promise." "Thank you so much. Remember, to use it, press the pink button and tell it any command you please." "So it's like an Alexa?" "Yes, pretty much." "Well, thank you very much, Pippi. I hope you do well with your fairy job. Bye." "Goodbye, young one, and have fun." Then the locket stopped shining. I went downstairs wearing the locket. My mom and dad noticed me. My mom said good morning, Mellon. My dad said hey, where did you get that necklace? It looks cute. Being honest, but also not wanting to make them think I'm crazy, I said something that was a mix of truth and a fib. "I just found it in the forbidden room." "I'm sorry, it was open for some reason." I was expecting my parents to lash out at me for being disobedient, but they actually weren't angry or anything. "Forbidden room? What forbidden room?" said my mom. "The one on the second floor that's always locked. When I went in there I saw all the old toys and everything." "Was that what you were hiding?" "Well," said my dad, "we just locked that room because it was too messy and potentially dangerous to walk in." "I'm glad you told the truth." And then both came and hugged me. In fact, my mom said, "That room is going to be your future bedroom once we clean up all the junk. Would you like to help us?" "Sure. We could donate the toys and stuff," I said happily. Later, my brothers came downstairs. "You have a necklace now," said Robbie. "Pretty necklace," said Jojo. "Thanks, and it's a locket by the way," I said. "Who wants to have bagels with cream cheese and salmon?" My mom said. "Me." Me and my brothers shouted. Things have been getting quite better for me in life. My brothers are starting to become a little more mindful of me. As for the locket, I still have it to this day, and I even use it to translate the words of my cats. I still talk to my online friends though, we're getting along more and more as always. So that, my friends, is the end of the story. I basically shared my secret with you and I hope this doesn't count as bragging. Let this be our little secret, okay?